Hi and welcome. My name is Renee and welcome to the Lazy Knitter podcast. You can find me on Instagram as Renee Lobarkis. I'll put somewhere on the screen how you spell it. And you can find me on Ravelry as Alazybeauty. This is my first episode. I'm a little nervous, so please bear with me if I get a little frazzled. I also have a bit of a throat ache. I decided yesterday that I wanted to record this first episode today, and I woke up with a terrible throat ache. As always. So I have a nice cup of tea, which seems to be sort of a trend in podcasts with me, and I'll take a sip if my throat gets very scratchy, because I'll sound like a frog. I'm drinking Clipper Earl Grey organic tea. It's quite nice, very basic Earl Grey tea. Not much to say about it. I'll start by telling you a little bit about myself. My name is Renee. I'm 24 years old. I live in the Netherlands, in a suburb of Amsterdam, and my parents live in Haarlem. And in my daily life, right now I'm currently not doing much because I deal with chronic illness, and unfortunately it's reached the point where I had to stop my studies. I was doing 2 university studies in completely different cities, so one was on one end of the Netherlands and the other was on the other end, which is bad planning on my end. But unfortunately my health is now bad enough that I had to stop both of them. I'll put them on pause and see if anything can be done to improve how I'm feeling. I'll get into all that a little bit later. I don't want to start off on a bit of a sour note, so keep to the happy stuff. I started crafting in 2012. I don't know how exactly I picked it up, but I started off knowing how to cable, and I don't know how I learned that. I had this ball of pink, scraggly acrylic that we had inherited from my grandma or something, and every winter I would pick it back up and knit something with it and unravel it and put the ball back in a box somewhere. And in 2012 I did the same. I started a cabled scarf in a horrible pink acrylic, and I don't even like pink. And I started Googling knitting and stuff, and I wanted to learn new things. It was just amusing me. And I found Ravelry. In the end was lost. I was hooked. Forever. And I never stopped knitting again, and I'm really glad because I really enjoy knitting. It's really one of my big passions, especially not being able to do much. Knitting is relatively low energy. You don't need a lot of brain power. You can knit really mindless things, and I find that really sort of adds purpose to my life these days. If I'm feeling very sick, my knitting will make me happy. I do actually still have some projects from the horrible pink yarn, but I didn't bring them. I didn't put them here in front of me for today, and the recording is finally going well, so I'm not stopping. I'll show it to you another time. Because they actually turned into my first pair of socks. And why I decided to podcast? Well, I've been thinking about it for quite a while, actually. I started watching podcasts about 2 years ago. I fell down the rabbit hole when I discovered the Stockinette Zombies, which I really like. Their podcast is just so great. It's very amusing. And I really feel like I don't know many people who knit in my area. I don't have a lot of knitterly friends. Sorry, that's a scratchy throat. Sorry for the slurping, my tea is very hot. I don't have a lot of people in my area who knit. My mother doesn't knit, my grandma doesn't knit anymore, and she lives quite far away, actually. And so podcasts for me are like a sort of virtual knit night. I can just put one on, grab my knitting, grab a cup of tea, and feel like I'm with friends. And I just really felt like I wanted to get my words out there, get myself out there as well, show my projects. I really like it. I just like showing off my things, I guess. And so I know there's a lot of podcasts already out there, but I don't know. I think I can add something new to the mix, and I'm definitely going to try and be very new, add some different aspects from the current podcast. I just need to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. This first episode is going to be very basic, just whips, FOs, spitting, that sort of things. And just a bit of an introduction to me and my crafting and what I want to do with this. I still need to figure out some of the details, but we'll get to that in a later bit. I thought I'd start off this first podcast by showing you a few of my favorite projects to date. I've been crafting for, I don't know, it's almost 4 years. That sounds, 3.5 years, I think it's now. So that's longer than I actually thought. But I've brought out a few of my old favorites that I thought I would show you today. And the first one is my very first shawl. And the color is looking amazing on screen. Let me grab it there. Let me scooch back a bit. And there. Oh, it's really showing up quite nice. A little close up. This is the Ionium shawl by, I wrote it down, Tiziana Samuri. And I made it out of Knit Picks palette in the color Chicory. It was my first time ordering yarn from abroad as well. And I felt really quite fancy getting Knit Picks because you can't get it here in the Netherlands. And Knit Picks, you need to start shipping here, seriously. Although my bank account might be less happy if that happens, but we'll see. A little off center, I see. And this was my first shawl. Cabled, lace, everything in it. And oh my gosh, it was so fun. And then I never wore it. I didn't know how to wear it. I felt weird wearing it, and in hindsight that's really stupid, so I started wearing it with my coats, my winter coats. I just wear it like this, basically, like a huge, comfy, portable blanket, but a more fancy blanket. And it's actually quite soft. It's had quite, even though I haven't worn it much, I brought it to a few festivals and I sat on it like a picnic thing, and it got dragged through grass and all that, and it's in pretty good condition still. So this is definitely a favourite, and I really do plan on wearing it more because I love the colour. It's soft, it's squishy, it's warm. What else do you want, right? Let me put that over there. And another favourite, some more recent projects, it's I've started designing my own patterns, and I brought you one. This is my favourite so far. I actually have another pattern with the same design on it. I started out making phone sweaters, so little fabric cases for your phone, and I did this texture on it. Let me see, it's a little washed out there. It's a zigzag texture, hence the name Zigzag Socks, double G's. And there's some hair on there. Long hair, you know, right? And I just felt really bummed that I hadn't put the design, the texture on a pair of socks, so I decided recently I just have to do this, I want them. And I really like the bright contrasting bits because they just add a bit of modern to an otherwise very basic, bit of classical design. And these socks are actually highly customizable because you can decide where you want to do the texture. You can do the whole sock with texture, you can do the whole sock with the stranding. You don't have to, of course, but it's your own choice. You can pick and choose which starch you want to do there. If I would want to do another band of the colorwork here, I could, but I like them like this. I made these out of, what did I use? GB Sprint, and Vibra Neon. Vibra is a Dutch store, and they sell some yarn. It's mostly acrylics, but I saw these neons ages ago there, and I just had to have them, and I really like them as contrasts with grey stuff. So this is the zigzag socks. It's my own design. You can find them on Ravelry, but you'll see more of that all later. So those are the two favorites I brought to show to you today, and I thought we'd just jump right in and go to some recent FOs. I finished two things. One of them is sort of half finished. I'll start with that one actually. I started spinning in January, and when you start spinning, handspun is the most exciting yarn there is. Even if it's unattractive and bobbly and uneven and a mess, you just want to knit with it. So I just decided to jump in and knit with my handspun. I spun a braid from Elfenwolle. I shared the pictures on my Instagram. I actually share a lot of my crafting on Instagram, so if you want updates on my projects, check my Insta, it's probably there. And I spun 250 grams of Corriedale. It was 100% Corriedale, and I've decided I absolutely love the sheep. I want one. My parents are not yet convinced on it though. I tried telling them that they wouldn't have to mow the lawn anymore, but I don't think it worked. And it was really quite interesting because the braid I spun had a lot of orange and blue and some yellows, and the yarn, I two-plied it, and the two braids I had weren't completely even. So they came out, merge into some really interesting colors. So it made me feel a bit like painting, because you have to know how colors react to each other and how they will mix to guess what kind of end result you have. It was quite a learning experience for me. I ended up with about 750 meters of fingering weight, I was pretty pleased with that, even though I spun 250 grams and it's a bit of a heavier side. I was thrilled. And I decided to make a shawl everyone has been raving about the last few weeks, months, the Waiting for Rain shawl by Sylvia Bobilvia. I just thought the garter paired with the lace sections would be perfect for handspun, because garter and handspun are perfect together. And this is the result. As you can see, it's half finished. It still needs a good block. And you can see the colors, the orange is a lot more muted. There's a lot of green. It's quite big already, and I expect it to grow even more when I block it. Am I showing you the right side? Yes. The lace sections are just really pretty. And I was surprised about how soft the cordial is. Everyone always told me it was really sturdy and more of a workhorse, but I definitely call this next to skin soft. It's quite pleasant. And I definitely want more. I'm just completely thrilled with how this came out. I haven't had time to block it yet. I don't have enough space in my dorm. Well, I have a small apartment, which is in student housing, and I'm going home to my parents next week, and they have a much bigger house than I do, so I'll have time and space to block it, and I hope to show it again to you after that, because it's surely going to improve it much more. If I'm stumbling over my words a little, it's because I'm quite nervous. I'm actually quite a shy person, except on the internet. No, even on the internet, I think, actually. And this is a big step out of my comfort zone, and I just stumble over my words when I'm nervous, because I don't have... if I have to do presentations for school, I am one of those people who has to write out exactly what they're going to say, or this happens. And I didn't want to do that for this, because I wanted to be more spontaneous, and I don't know, I just wanted you to see me and not some script I prepared for myself. So I think I'll get better with more practice. It takes some getting used to, and the first episode is always going to be the worst. A second recent default is my sockhead slouch hat. Oh, that's looking nice and bright there on the camera. It's a little less bright in real life, less blue, more purple and grey. Everyone seems to have knit one of these hats. It seems sort of like a knitting rite of passage, and I always thought a slouch hat would in no way look good on me. But I really want to knit one, and an online yarn store was going out of business, and they were offering 40% off, and I had to get some koigu and knit one. And I figured if it doesn't work for me, I could rip it out. No harm done. Which is one of the things I love about knitting. If you make a mistake, it's so easy to fix, or if it turns out you hate the project, just rip it, which is good, because that happens to me a lot. So I made the hat. It took a little longer to finish than it should have, because it's really basic knitting, but I had 15 centimeter DPNs. I don't like circulars, I don't like magic loop, actually I hate magic loop, it's not for me. My DPNs were a little too short, so I kept losing stitches, and it was just a pain to knit. So I finally sprung and got longer DPNs, and then it was just smooth sailing. It was so much easier. And I'm gonna try and put my hat on so that you can see what it looks like. No guarantees that it's actually gonna look good right now. And yeah, my hair is not behaving very well. And my phone is buzzing. My phone never buzzes, and now it's buzzing, of course. Yeah. It needs some work. I do this in a mirror normally. I'm not good at putting hats on. I never know. I'm never satisfied when I put a hat on, and even though people tell me I have a hat head, I don't see it. But I'm really happy with how this turned out. It still needs a block as well, but I don't think it will really change much when it comes to this type of hat. It just, I don't know, might soften up a little more. It is already super soft. The Koigu KPPPM is amazing to knit with. Very squishy, soft, and the colors are just gorgeous. But I don't know, a bath can never hurt, right? The next section I had is whips, but I'm gonna take a quick sip of tea first. I have to say my throat is holding up better than I'd expected. Oh no, I have one more FO, sort of. It's an FO whip. I'm knitting one of those blankets everyone seems to be knitting. I've called mine Molly Weasley because in the burrow it's all different colours and a little clashy, but it works and it's very cozy, and I wanted that for my blanket. This is it folded in half. It's quite huge. I am making rows of 26 squares. I'm working on the 7th row right now. I'm planning for it to be 26 by 26 squares, which means I need to knit 676 squares. I'm at about 20% right now, but if you calculate, that means I have about 500 more squares to go, no more. 550 or something, and it's still a lot of work, but I don't mind because this blanket is amazing to work on. I love knitting on it. It's just, look, it's so happy and bright and soft and cuddly, and it's getting big enough that I can sit under it now, which is quite nice when it's cooling down in the evenings, because I find myself working on this in the evenings a lot. I actually worked on it in the hammock last week. It was really warm and it was cooling down, and I just curled up in the hammock with my blanket and my yarn and started knitting. One downside of it getting so big right now is it's not very portable anymore, and I want to knit on this all the time. And carrying around a bag with a blanket and the bag with the minis is just a bit too much, so I'm leaving it here, which is sad because I want to work on it. Let me show you some recent squares. I've really been working on it a lot lately, partially also because in the 90% knitting group, it's another podcast I watch, there's a mini mayhem going on. Oh, my nose is tickly, I'm sorry. There's a mini mayhem cal going on, which means that in May you need projects that use 100 yards or less. Now my squares use around 14 yards each. And she said you could count every square as one project, and for each project you get a point. And it's just been very motivating. I've been getting a lot done. And I've been holding it. No, I've been holding it right. Okay. Let me see which ones I did recently. I think this one is from this month. This is for my Opal Advent calendar from 2015. And on my Instagram, I recorded a little video every day of me opening one of the doors of my Advent calendar in December. I'm planning on doing that again this year because I ordered the calendar again because I had so much fun last year and those minis are just too cute. And I think I will record the videos again. Instagram now has made changes and you can make videos longer than, I think it was 20 seconds, and I felt like I really had to rush so I can probably give my opinion on each mini and probably share the joy, so I came off sounding a bit grumpy sometimes, I think. And with the improvement to the video, to the length of the video you can take, I definitely want to do it again. I had a lot of fun, so this is one of those minis. I can't remember exactly which day I got it. They were in random order in all the Advent calendars, so what I got on day 1 could be someone else's day 12 or something else. But I really like this one. This is one of my favorites. The colors are just so happy and very opal, I think. This is just a plain square, a solid. The yarn is My First Regia in cornflower blue, I think. It's just very soft and it's quite pleasant to knit with, and they come in little 25 gram balls, and they're not very expensive, so I ordered a bunch of those to add into my blanket. This mini is another one that I really like. This is from a mini from Wool met Verve. She's a Dutch dyer, and she started dyeing minis, and I ordered all the colors she had, which means I think I have about 12 of her minis right now. I think they're not really mini, they're 20 grams I think, so I can add a bunch of these into my blanket, and they're super soft and the colors are just amazing. And then I have some more. Let me see. This one is another Opal Advent calendar yarn, just a browny red. It's quite nice. This is a mini from, what's her name? Mermaid Yarns or Mermaid Knitting? I'm not exactly sure. I'll put it in the show notes in any way. She has an Etsy shop and she was selling little packs of Richard de Vries yarn. And Richard de Vries yarn is basically Koigu, but with a different name. I think Richard actually used to dye for Koigu but then he left and started his own brand. And she was selling little 3-gram mini skeins, and I messed up. I thought they would be plenty for my squares, because my squares are actually quite sizable. But the yarn is a little heavier than what I've been using so far, and so I needed a little more than 3 grams. So every square I'm making out of those, I'm running out at the end. You can't really see it in this one because I had yarn that was a pretty good match, but I have 55 of these minis, and every square I make with them is going to run out just at the tip. So I'm adding in colors. I don't want to not use them because I really like them and I bought them specifically for this blanket. I do have a languishing Hexibaf blanket that I could use them for, but I just really want to put them in this one because I like the color so much. So I'm just going to find yarns that match closely and use them for the edges. From far away you can't even really see it. So this is a handspun square. It's from the yarn I used for the Waiting for Rain shawl. When I was done plying the 2 bobbins together, I had a little left over on one of them, so I tried chain plying, which means it was technically a 3-ply. And this square is a little too big, but I just wanted to put it in there. It's a little rougher compared to what's around it because I'm not very good chain plying yet, but I like it. This is another of the mermaid minis. I really like this one, and I managed to find a pretty close match for that small tip. I knit all my squares on 2.75 millimeter DPNs, and with this one I had quite a bit more left to go. So I thought I'd try on this one to use 2.5 millimeters and see if that was just enough to let me finish a square in the yarn. It's not, but the tip is smaller and the size doesn't look smaller compared to the other squares, except to this one because it's massive and way too big. So I just figure I'll use 2.5 millimeters for those squares to get as much of the yarn in there as I can. This is the Koigu for my socket hat. It's a nice square, nice and squishy. This is another of the mermaid knitting yarns, nice and bright pink. I have a few other bright pinks in here, which I really like, the bright colors. I like the brights in my blanket. It just needs to be a cozy mess. This is another Koigu yarn. I bought it once specifically to make hexie puffs, and I figured I would add in a square as well. This is another handspun square. This is from the actual leftovers of my Waiting for Rain shawl. So this is 2-ply compared to, let's see, where did it go? Compared to this, that's 3-ply. Can I get them together? No, that's not going to work. This is another Opal Advent Calendar yarn. I still need to weave in all the ends so you can see them dangling here at the top edge, but I haven't shown you the back, and I've managed to convince my mom that she wants to weave in all my ends for me. Because it's, oh my gosh, I honestly tried weaving them in as I went. But I don't like weaving them in before I have the row above and around it finished. Because for some reason it just annoys me and I don't feel like they're very secure. And so when I finished a row, I tried weaving in all the ends. And it just takes forever. I think I spent 3 hours working on it and I'd done not even a quarter of all the ends I had. And I told my mom, and she said, "Oh, just give it to me and I'll do it for you." And I was like, okay, deal. And this yarn is Tiger Garn. Tiger is a shop is a Danish shop, I think, and they have some stores here in the Netherlands. And in the winter they sell sock yarn and some other fat acrylic yarns that not all of them are great. Some of them are great, they're kind of nice. So they have a single ply yarn that's quite nice to knit with, but it doesn't hold up too well. But their sock yarns are actually pretty great and very cheap. They're €1 per ball, and they have 50-gram balls, so for €2 you have a pair of socks. This colorway, I just bought it because I'm greedy and I want all the sock yarn. It's not my thing. I made socks out of it for my sister. I made my slip stripe spiral socks out of it. Those were the first round of the Sock Madness this year, which I participated in. And they turned out too big, so I gave them to my mom. But I still have one more ball of this. So I figured I'd just add another square with it. And this is another handspun yarn. This is a merino nylon blend. It's by Elfenwolle. The fibre was by Elfenwolle. The same as the Corriedale that I use for my shawl. And this is a merino nylon blend. It's very soft and I use it to make a pair of handspun socks. and I had to add in a square because it's a memory blanket and I want to remember that one. I'm expecting to add a lot more squares to it this week, so well, I often expect that and then it doesn't work out, so I won't promise anything, but I do want to add more to it. Well, we're finally onto whips, and we've been recording 26 minutes. Okay, I'm going to be one of those very long-winded podcasters, I think. But, well, I like watching them, so I hope you all do too. Whips. Let's start with my favourite. And the one I literally just shoved in this project bag so I could show you. Oh, let me show you the bag. It's a Halloween themed bag that I made myself. It's one of my first. It's not very good. I want to do more sewing and get better at it because I'm planning a huge quilt or two. And I wanted project bags, so I decided I'll just make one. The shape turned out a little wonky. I cut the fabric to the wrong size, so it's more of a box bag. But it actually fits quite a lot. I think I can fit a finished sock whip, and about 2 to 3 balls of yarn in there. So let me grab my whip. It's all tangled up, okay. This is the yarn. It's opal for ladies and gentlemen in the color lebendig, which means lively. And I was really surprised. This feels much softer than other opal yarns I've used, and the colors are really kind of muted for opal. They usually have all the bright colorways and stripes and the patterning, and this is just sort of a tonal, and I really like it. I bought it on sale at my favorite online yarn store, Valhalla. It's a Dutch store. It's just a web store, and they specialize in sock yarn. I love sock yarn. I hoard sock yarn. I have a sock yarn problem, I'll admit that freely. And they have sales a lot. I bought this actually at 40% off, I think, and I'm kind of regretting not buying more of it because I really like knitting with it. I'm working on a sock design with this yarn, and I'll show you the front first because that shows off the theme of the socks. I'm part of a group on Ravelry, Sock Knitters Anonymous, and they have monthly themes, and within those themes you can pick patterns or you can design your own within the theme. And for April the theme was flora and fauna, and I just got really inspired to do a snaky sock, and it's not showing up great here. These colors are actually a little more washed out there, but a lot greener, brighter green than they're showing up here. It's a snake, and this is his tongue. And then on the back there's sort of a shadow snake actually, because this is the body, this is the head, and then the tongue goes down into the heel. And it pulled really funny on the heel. It's been quite properly tonal on the leg and stuff, and then on the heel flap, the last bit was green, and then that little corner was the lighter green, and I just thought it was so cute. Perfect pulling. I love pulling. I've almost finished the gusset. I think I have one more decrease to go, and then smooth sailing on the foot because I'm almost done with the charts as well. I created some insane charts for these. I will write them out when I publish a pattern because I want people who don't read charts to be able to knit them as well. There's still quite a bit of knitting to go on these, but I think once I finish the first sock and have everything written up, I'll get testing started and then knit the second sock along with the testers, just to save some time because I want to get these published. Because I did them for the April challenge for SCA, I'm supposed to finish them before the end of May, sorry. I'm going backwards in time now. Before the end of May. I don't think that's going to happen. I put them down for a very long time, and although they knit up quite fast, with all the cabling, it's quite an intensive job, and I'm not always feeding up to that, because I have to look. There's a chart for the front of the leg and for the back of the leg, and I'm just not always up for that. So that's week 1. I'm hoping to finish the first sock this week, but if I don't, that's okay too. I try and set goals for myself when I'm crafting, but if I don't make them, that's okay too. I don't really have any deadlines I need to meet or anything, so... Actually I do, but not on this one, so... And then my second whip is something I just pulled out of Hobby Nation because I shoved it aside for a while, and I really want to get back to working on it. It's a cardigan from very long time stash yarn. This is the back. I'm about halfway through. I'm making a couple of sizes larger than I really have because I want it to be, it's acrylic yarn, and I just want it to be for cozying up on the couch with Netflix or something. Just really a snuggly cardigan for around the house, or maybe for grocery shopping or something like that. It's the Woodrush cardigan by Alison Green. I'm knitting it in Zeeman Royale. Zeeman is a Dutch chain, and they also sell yarn really cheaply. Mostly acrylic. They're starting to experiment with some wool blends, which I approve of because they're very cheap. And these cables, I love them. I love these cables, except they're a pain to knit. No, they're not really, but because I knit socks so much, my hands need to adjust to knitting something on bigger needles. I'm not sure what size these are, but they're bigger than sock needles. And I don't know, with all the socks I've been knitting and my shawl and my blanket, this just got pushed into a corner and I've been ignoring it. And I really want to finish it because I want to wear it. Spinning very quickly because we're getting up there in time. I started another braid of fiber by Elfenwolle. She has an Etsy shop and I will link her below because I love her stuff, and I have about 5 or 6 more braids of hers I have to spin, not counting, and I have stuff from other dyers as well, and I still want to order more from her. She's very good. This is, grab the tag, Elfenwolle to spin and knit your socks. It's a sock blend, it's merino nylon. It has 67% wool merino and 33% nylon, so that's quite a nice high mix, which I like because my other handspun socks have the same blend. They're still very delicate. It's probably because of how I spun them. They needed more twist, which is one of the problems I have when spinning. I under-twist my singles and over-twist when I'm plying, which is not a good mix. And it's machine washable at 30 degrees Celsius. And this is the colorway Dünnen Maus. I'm not sure what that means because my German is just terrible. But I split it into 3 equal parts of 33 grams because it's a 100-gram braid. And I'm hoping to try my very first 3-ply. I can't show you what I have yet because it's practically nothing, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like it. Sorry. I also got an order in from that I placed in February. I knit a lot of socks, and everyone seems to have sock blockers, and I wanted a pair. But I couldn't find anything I liked until I discovered Burning Impressions on Etsy. She makes wood sock blockers and engraves them with your name or a picture, and I ordered a pair. I couldn't resist. And I just got them in last week, and they're so gorgeous. Let me show you. They have my name on them and a little sheep. Aren't these perfect? I love them. I need to finish my socks so I can put them on here. I really think this will be great. I just want to put them on there and admire them, and that'll be good to take pictures of socks with as well because I don't always have time or the capabilities to take perfect pictures of socks on my feet. I always end up taking the same picture just with a different pair of socks, and I thought this would be a nice way to change it up. They weren't that expensive, actually. I think she's seriously underpricing herself. I think she could ask a lot more considering the amount of detail on these sheets. They're just... She doesn't ask enough. I would have willingly paid double, I think. The only downside I had was it's wood, and Customs doesn't like wood. They held them for a few days, and they asked me to pay customs duties, which I should have expected that. That's logical. I just never had it happen before. So the poor delivery man came to my door and had to wait for like 20 minutes while I ran around trying to find the cash because they needed exactly the amount. I never have cash, let alone the exact amount, because it was like $17.95. I had $20, but he wouldn't take that because he didn't have change, and it was a mess. The poor delivery guy was up there just waiting for us. It was really bad. I felt so bad. I didn't seem to mind too much though, so thank God. I had to pay about. It was strange because the customs duties itself were €2, but they asked me to pay like $15.95 as administration costs, and it just seems a little skewed to me. But I understand that it's necessary because it's a lot of work to check all those packages and stuff. What else did I have? I have notes here in front of me to remind me of what I wanted to say. Not written out. I can show you. They're just really shorthand, like a list what I wanted to mention. I wanted to set some week goals, even though I just told you I don't really stick to goals. I do find them very helpful in guiding what I want to do this week. So my goals that I wrote up for this week are finish the first serpentine sock, because that's the name of the sneaky socks. I want to write up the pattern. I can already do that actually without having finished the socks because I don't know, I just can't. I already have the charts finished. I just need to change some little things. And yeah, the instructions aren't very hard. I would like to start testing this week because I would like to publish them next month. And I like to give testers a nice big window to knit them so that they don't get in time crunch at the end or they don't feel too pressured, because the deadline is flexible and I want them to enjoy knitting my sock. I would like to knit more squares on my blanket. I'm really cracking down on the blanket because I want to finish it early 2017. I'm saying I originally said 2016, but that was a little dumb because I wanted, of course, to put my advent calendar minis in there again, and you know, I only get those until 24th of December, so getting them all in there before the end of the year would be a bit ridiculous. So early 2017, and my dad calculated, and it means I need to knit at least 4 squares a day. That's not going to happen. I think I'm averaging 2 or 3, and then one day nothing, and then another day 5 or something like that. So 2017, before the halfway point, I think I would like. So I need to get going on those squares. And I would really like to pick up my cardigan again and get knitting on that, because I just want it finished. The knitting is okay. Not the most fun project I've ever done, but that's probably because I get distracted by all the pretty socks and I don't knit sweaters much. Oh yeah, I wanted to end with a bit of a daily life section to tell you just what I've been doing in the past week, because I think I'll be recording weekly because, as I said, I'm chronically ill. I've currently had to put my studies completely on hold, which means I have very little to do every day, so I have a lot of knitting time. Now, a lot of knitting time for me doesn't mean that I actually get a lot done, because Ravelry is a huge time suck, Facebook is a huge time suck, and I get distracted very easily. But one of the things I struggle with is I also have a huge brain fog every now and then. It's a little less these days, but I had it really bad a few weeks back, and it just seems to come and go. And when that happens, I can't concentrate on anything. My memory is bad. It's still not where it should be, but when I'm really tired, it gets worse. So, like this, I don't remember what I was saying right now. That's just bad. I have a lot of free time, but because of my issues, a lot of free time doesn't necessarily mean that I get a lot done, because I have to conserve my energy, and there's things that just have to happen, and distracting things. For this week, I have a lot of medical stuff I need to get done, which will mean more knitting, because I don't go to a waiting room without my knitting. At 8:10 in the morning, I'm expected in the hospital on Tuesday. I need to have an echo done of my stomach, because let me rewind a little. I have celiac disease. It was discovered in July 2014. I had a lot of issues. I was very tired. I had a lot of problems with bloating, and my doctor took some blood, and it turns out I had a B12 deficiency, and we started looking for what caused that, because I wasn't supposed to have one. It wasn't logical. And they discovered I have celiac disease, and it's kind of stupid because you spell it really funny in Dutch. And I remember saying to my mum in the car a few days before we got the results, "Oh, I bet you I have the disease that I can't pronounce." And I was really joking around with the name and stuff and just making fun of it. A few days later, "Oh, you have this, sorry." The celiac is not that bad. I have to say, it's quite a change when you first hear you have it, but the eating gluten-free it becomes second nature. I don't really have to think about it much anymore. And if you're lucky, unlike me, as soon as you start eating gluten-free, your body will recover and you'll start feeling better. Well, in my case, I did recover. I had a repeat biopsy done last December, and my body is healed. Except I didn't recover. I still have my issues. I don't feel better. I'm sick, and nobody really knows why. And when my celiac was discovered, a lot of things were wrong in my blood, and they also discovered I had asthma, and everything normalized once I started eating gluten-free. And then I discovered I was also lactose intolerant, so I cut that out too. But I'm not as strict with the lactose because there's tablets you can take, so that you can still have, I don't know, whipped cream and stuff. I really like whipped cream. And the lactose, it isn't as harmful for me as gluten. It can make me feel really bad, but I sneak a lot of lactose into my diet. If I take little bits, it won't be so bad. But I probably am going to have to take that more seriously, just to see if that will help. Well, I have asthma as well, as I said. And then this spring, I wanted to do a special program for people like me who have chronic illness, but should have been feeling better and aren't. And it was a program that was going to help me deal with my issues and just sort of find a new balance, because I tend to overdo and then I just push myself into the ravine, basically. That's not how the expression goes, but you get what I mean. I overdo it and then have to pay for it for a few days, if not weeks. And that's bad, because then you constantly push your balance lower because your body starts warning you when it thinks that you might be doing too much. And in my case, it warns me with migraines, nausea, stomach aches, headaches, exhaustion. I can't sleep well at all. I have insomnia, I think. And I just lie awake hours, exhausted, but not being able to sleep. What else do I have? Well, there's a long list. I don't remember all of it by now. I need to really think about all of it. But, what was I saying? Yeah. Oh yeah, the program was going to help me find a new balance and to improve my fitness and sort of my mental state in all of this. I don't think there's nothing wrong with me, but just a different attitude to help deal with what I have. And I got some blood draw to just prove there was nothing wrong with me, nothing else wrong with me. And suddenly my thyroid was acting up again. It was slow, and I had anemia. No logical explanation for that one either. I don't know why. I still don't know, actually. It seems to have normalized again. So, but for my thyroid, my mother has thyroid issues as well. She has hyperthyroid, and my blood values technically weren't bad enough to need medication, because they usually stabilize, which they did when I was diagnosed with celiac. They were wrong to then as well. But my doctor and I decided to do a trial medication, just to put me on medication and see if it helps a little, because of my complaints. Anything that works, even a little, is welcome. And I can gladly say that it actually is doing something for me. Not enough, because my values weren't high enough. It can't cause all of my issues, and it isn't. But the medication is making me feel a little more fit. I don't need a nap anymore every day. And I've been really warm before I started the medication. I was constantly overheating, which is weird because I'm normally very cold. I was always cold, and that seems to be normalizing again, which I'm glad for, because cold is better than warm. But this Tuesday, that program, my health insurance, said no, which sucks, because I think 3 doctors have told me that it would be perfect for me and that I'm the perfect person to do a program like that and that there should be no problem. And some person behind a desk just said no. So that was really disappointing. It's been almost 3 weeks now since we heard that, and I was supposed to start the day after they told me. We weren't happy, let's say the least. We were really pissed. And we're trying to get that sorted out. I personally think that they said no because of the place where I wanted to follow the program. because they literally told me on the phone, if you take it in this other place, there's no problem and you can do it. Which we called before going for that place, and they said it wouldn't be a problem. I wasn't happy. I'm still not happy. I'm still quite angry actually about it. It's not fun. It just costs a lot of time, and I just wanted to get this started and get working on it. But now, maybe it's good that they said no, because I went to another doctor, my specialist, and my regular doctor told me, okay, there's so much going on here, I've lost this oversight. I just want to get it checked over by a specialist. So I was sent to a specialist for vitamins and stuff like that. And they are doing a lot of tests, which is really nice, because a lot of this test I've never had before, and that's kind of strange considering the issues I'm having. So this Tuesday I'm having another lung picture taken, an x-ray of my lungs. I've had that 2 years ago, but it can't hurt to have one taken again. And I'm getting an echo of my abdomen just to see what's going on inside there. And they're going to check all my organs and stuff like that. And I had to give blood, and I had to pee in a jar, which is so out of my comfort zone. I hated it, especially they didn't think about this when they made the lab. The toilet was on one end of the hallway, and the lab was on the other end. And you had to carry the jar from one end to the other end, so you were walking there with your jar of pee. And oh God, I hated it. And I'm the type, as soon as I go out the door, I have to pee. And we got there, and I just didn't have to pee. It's just tell me I have to pee in a jar and I'll never pee again. I think it was horrible, but I'm kind of curious to see what comes out of that, because I never had a bunch of the tests they're doing before. And I think the week after that I need to have an ECG of my heart just to check everything's okay there, and then I get the results right after. So I'm kind of excited about it. It sounds silly to be excited about getting tests taken and going to the doctor, but because I've been dealing with this for so long, I'd rather just know what's going on than not know if there's anything going on. Because it's very possible that this is all just my body reacting to having been sick for a very long time. Because before my celiac was discovered, I'd been having complaints for years. And I just thought I was lazy. So I basically made myself sicker by not going to a doctor. Which is stupid, and well, I can't change it, so no point being upset about it, I guess. But it's that's why I was so excited about the program, because if it's just my body still reacting to have been treated so poorly for so long, then this program would have been perfect. But you can't do the program if you're still having tests and diagnostics done, so I think I'm going to have to postpone for a little while. It sucks because I was really hoping to get back to my studies in August or September I think, and the longer this all takes, the less likely that seems, which is boo. Which is weird. I never say that. Sorry, don't say that. That was bad. My plans for the podcast, to round it up, I'm not completely sure yet. I need to hammer out some of the details, but I'm thinking, now that I'm sitting here and I felt like I had nothing to say and it's already 50 minutes, I think I'll make a podcast every week, because some weeks I do a lot, some weeks I do less. We'll see. If it turns out I have nothing to say every week, I might stretch it to 2 weeks or once a month. We'll see. I want to think of some more fun categories to set the podcast apart. Right now I just have the basics of a knitting podcast, basically. Just whips, FOs, spinning. I want to think of some more categories to set me apart. So I'm going to work on brainstorming some things for that. I didn't want to do them for today because it's the first episode. It's already going to be longer. I just want to get started. I also was thinking I might, I live near Amsterdam. Amsterdam's pretty awesome. Haarlem's pretty awesome. There's a lot of fun sites here in the Netherlands, and I actually plan on touring the Netherlands a bit over the summer, because I don't have the energy for a trip far away. I just plan on exploring some cities in my own country, because I haven't actually done that much yet, and I really do enjoy it. It feels like sort of mini vacation. So I was thinking I might take not my camera, I will record with my phone, but I'm thinking I might record some segments about the Netherlands, which might be very fun. Probably I'll start off in Haarlem, or in my neighborhood where my parents live, or in Amsterdam Central, something like that. I'm not quite sure yet, but I thought it would be fun to show you a bit of where I live, because I know Mina from the Knitting Expat does that in Bahrain and Dubai, and it's just so fun to see her area, because it's so different from where I live, and I thought that might be interesting to others as well who aren't familiar with the Netherlands, because we have the tulips and all the stuff. And I actually do plan, because of the program fell through, I want to start making some changes on my own. I haven't worked out or done exercise really for years, and that can't help when you're not feeling good. So I want to start working on my fitness, and I'm going to start simple, walking. I want to start taking more walks. As I said, I'm a bit of a shy person and sometimes a little insecure. The area where my apartment is, I'm not very familiar with, so that's putting me off walking. So I'm just going to ask my mom sometime to just explore the area with me here. I've been living here 2 years. This is sad that I don't know where I live, but well, it's true. So I don't come out much anymore. And in where my parents live, I still stay with them very regularly. It's nice. And I can show you around there because I'm much more familiar with the area, and I like going outside, and I want to do more. That's it, I think. I don't think I have anything else to say. Let me check if I missed anything. No. Well then, I hope you enjoyed this first episode, and if you liked it, please subscribe. I'm going to try editing this all now, and I hope I can do it. I'm going to have to practice. This first episode might not be the best editing-wise, but I'm hoping to just practice and steadily get better, and we'll see. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I'll see you again soon, and I hope to be recording episode 2 soon. Bye. Oh, I'm raving like a dork. Oh my gosh. Bye, guys.